Hello, everybody. I don't know. Why do I sound like so cheesy?
It's just a different night, same thing.
Listen, I have arthritis in both of my hips. Today I got 4 injections for it.
Which is obviously causing problems between the ears.
The legs don't work, only up here. I was trying to sing and welcome everybody on tonight. But anyways, everybody, welcome to Wednesday night OWCP chats with Chris and me, Gini.
The crazy one.
Anyways, don't forget, we do stream off of YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok. However, tonight our topic is not for TikTok viewers. We have a special guest, and that's not really for them anything that they're going to get trained on or anything like that. So,
Janet, Tommy, what's up?
Hello. So Chris and I, we just finished. We're going to do our little housekeeping, but we just came back from Miami. As you guys know, it was an amazing seminar.
It was. Finally met a bunch of doctors that are high-powered, go-getters. It's exactly what you're looking for, so we hope to recruit several of them.
Yeah, and it was like high-level marketing. And we want to give a shout-out to Chris. What's Chris's last name?
Colgan.
Chris Colgan and Tristan.
For getting us involved. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it was amazing. So the only thing we have left are 2 things for the end of the year.
Ron says we have no sound. Can anybody hear us? All right, well, let us know if you can. Here, turn this on here so you can.
Okay.
All right, if you hear us, give us a bunch of likes, please, so that we know that you can hear us. All right, Celia says yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Ron can hear us too. Okay, cool. Sorry. All right. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, they hear.
So we have 2 more things for the end of the year. So next Wednesday, Tom and Mr. Kenny Hodge will be out in our Federal Injury Centers of Columbus, Ohio. They're going to have their little open house meet and greet. You'll get to see Mr. Hodge, talk to him face to face. You'll get to see our partner, Tom. He's going to be there answering questions. And
you got to get out there. Get out there if you're in the area.
See him. Go check out the doctors and the staff and everybody. So you guys make sure you're out there for that. And then the last thing, it's going to be the last week of November into December, is the fall booster for APW. We're really excited about coming back out, training you guys. I think we're actually going to have everybody this time. So we'll see about that. Other than that, we're coming to the end of the year. We're going to try to think of some fun and really good things to do for you guys, meaning like the things that we have been doing.
Like this is all actually news to me. I'm listening like you're listening. What are we talking about?
What we're going to do for the end of the year.
Let us all know.
I'm telling them. We're going to have more doctors come on. We're going to do some testimonials, live testimonials with patients, all of you guys that have gone to our centers and got the help. So we're really excited about that. Well, I'm excited about that.
I am now. I'm stoked.
But other than that, that's all my housekeeping stuff. What about you?
I want to say hi to Victor. Victor, we've been thinking about you and pulling for you. That's all I'm going to say. You know what's up. Thanks for being here. And everyone get the book, Breaking OWCP. I got volume 1, 2, and 3. There are limited quantities of volume 2.
Yeah.
So I'm showing it to you, but I'm still willing to ship them out. So go to breakingowcp.com and then also download all of them because you need to be able to put Breaking OWCP in your pocket. That's all I've got because...
I know Judy asked, when is book 4 coming out? She keeps asking every week.
Judy, I really appreciate that. So Judy's really good. She keeps like a verbal boot in my backside. And
she does with the book.
So yeah, Judy, it's my fault completely. It's like what I'm about to say would make you think that internet and email doesn't work when I'm out of state. But I've been so busy traveling, I just haven't focused on it. I've got to get to it, so we will.
And a shout out to
Dr. Clark, Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach office, guys. This is our new office. When you guys are ready and injured, give them a call. It's Federal Injury Centers of Virginia Beach.
Yep.
In Virginia Beach, Virginia.
So Dr. Clark, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Throughout the night, well, I'm sure we'll have more of the doctors coming and saying hi, and I like to say hello for them. So we'll do that. What did Tanya say there? I want to give a big thank you and hug to Federal Injury Centers Redondo Beach for getting my CA2 claim accepted and on the first try. So let me just say, when she says on the first try, that's the way we do it. So Tanya, we're very happy for you. Very, very happy. I love Tanya. So her claim getting accepted is very special to me. Okay, so with that said, I want to bring on Kenny Hodge. Kenny Hodge is running for president of a tri-state area for the Mail Handlers Union, Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio.
Yep.
And this is a big deal. Kenny's a really good friend of mine and of ours, of Federal Injury Centers, of Wednesday Night Chats.
For quite a long time now.
And for a long time. He's got a podcast where Tom comes on and him and Tom talk, and I think that's on a weekly basis. I've been on there before too. Extremely knowledgeable about OWCP, I think in a way that most union people are not.
True.
And he's got a background that almost nobody has. And so I think it's important that you all get to know who he is because I said we love him. You should too. He's a fantastic human. And so we're going to bring Kenny on now and give everyone a chance to hear what he's got to say. So without any more delay, Mr. Kenny Hodge.
And let's give him some heart, Mr. Hodge. Woo-hoo!
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Thank you for being here tonight. Let me just say, look, it is a pleasure to have you.
Yes.
I'm
And
always in your company, Chris. You know that, man.
well, we're going to talk. We're going to find out what's going on. What's happening with your campaign, the issues that you're going through, and what you plan to do next. So let's talk about it. I mean, where do you want to start?
That'll be a very interesting conversation. And let me say first of all, to your whole streaming audience, but in particular, the mail handlers in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, please hear the words that I'm saying to you. I'm going to speak as slow because I'm from New Jersey, and the rate of speech can get accelerated.
Yeah.
But I want you to understand something. I'm going to say a lot today, but I want you to know, regardless of where we are, understand I dedicate my skill set, my time, my energy to the mail handlers in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But I need you to know that that's where my allegiance is. Now, I want to say within the last day or so, in the midst of a campaign, I'm campaigning for the local president. Again, I want to represent Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. My opponent, I guess sometimes when you get a little nervous, you seem to act in character. In this case, put out a pamphlet. I guess it's his campaign material. And I want to say I might be on his mind just a little bit because in his pamphlet, which he's supposed to promote him and his candidates, they mentioned Kenny Hodge or his opponent over almost 20 times. And in fact, the name of the book should have been Ode to Kenny Hodge or something, but not their campaign book.
Are they charging you rent for living inside their head?
You know what? Two mail handlers at work said that same thing to me today. I want everybody to understand. I am campaigning to make Local 304 a better union. I don't know why you can either accept what I'm offering or not accept, but because you don't accept, there is no reason to have natural animosity towards me because I want to lead the local.
Thank you.
Now, I know that the current local president, Bitt, takes a lot of time and energy into trying to turn people against me instead of what it is I offer the local. He went through great pleasures to print this book that 2,585 mail handlers were handed this book by his stewards. And the level of malicious lies and slander that he printed and handed out to people is absurd. And give me just a little bit of time, and I want to try to correct some of it.
Hey, before you do that, can I ask you who paid for that book and the distribution?
I think him and the people who are on his slate. they get together. Now, I do a campaign mailing. Now, my mailing should be in every mail handler's house. Instead of them doing a mailing, they collectively get a book, and then the local president takes that book to all branch offices and has the stewards pass out that book to every union member. Yes, that does not sound like proper campaigning, but it's been happening so long. It's one of those things that right now we'll address later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just think about the fairness of that. You take your book out to the stewards and have them give it out for you. But not only think about how unfair that is, what kind of a person don't even want to go meet the people? It's not like you come in regularly. You don't even take the time to pass out your own campaign material so that you get to shake mail handler's hand and meet a mail handler or two. I know mail handlers in Columbus, Ohio, who've been there over 10 years, never seen him, don't know who he is. And that kind of brought out my whole campaign mantra of a president with presence. That's not going to happen when Kenny Hodge is in office. Not going to happen.
Say that again. A president with presence.
With presence.
Very nice.
Love it.
Very nice.
Now, one of the things that my opponent likes to tell people is I spent 20 some years in management. And let me tell you something. I can't take that back, nor would I want to take it back.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of things in postal management that allow me now to have that skill set that you're not going to find anywhere in Local 304. Yes, I said that because is there a member in Local 304 that has been a level 23 in the post office? No. Therefore, I've gone places, sat in meetings, and done things that you've never done. But because of my dedication to the union, I take all that management experience and bring it over to the National Postal Mail Handlers Union and make it available for employees. And my opponent wants to always make that a bad thing. But I want to say to Columbus, Ohio in particular, just to show you how you can't hold on to everything that man tells you. The last two presidents, well, the last president and probably one of the best stewards Columbus, Ohio has ever had, went straight to management. Why? Because of that local president. Now, so when you tell me or blame me for being managers, that sounds very condescending from you, because apparently you trained some pretty good managers. Because the last two important individuals from Columbus, Ohio, that's where they went before they retired, and that's where they are now.
Let me make sure I'd like to just, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I may do this a few times. So two things I want to say about that. So one, I think what I heard you say is the current president trained up people so good they turned into managers.
Well, I was being sarcastic. Yes. Well, you know what? Whatever they did, management liked to the point where they brought them right over. And I'll leave that there.
Well, the other thing I was going to say to you, and everyone on here knows that I am no fan of management. And to say I'm no fan of management is an understatement. Everybody knows it. There's nothing more powerful than a common enemy, right? And management has a way. But you're not one of them. Okay, I know you. And if you were one of them, I don't think you and I would be friends.
Thank you. And this is what I tell people. Yes, I was, but that's not where I am now. I take all that and bring that all to mail handlers in our local. He makes a point of telling people when I was in management how I fired people. This is just a bold-faced lie. And here's my challenge to him. Produce one name to print it on Facebook, show it out there of anybody I've ever fired in the Postal Service. That's my challenge to you. That's how sure I am that what you talk about, you don't fact check.
If it ever happened, it'd be easy to prove.
Very easy to prove.
Right.
And trust me, if I've ever fired people, I wouldn't get on this show for the world to see and me say, show me a name.
Right.
But that's what they do. They take a little bit of misinformation and try to get inside the heads of Local 304 members and convince them that this is what I do. They talk about.
There's a woman named Susan on here, Susan Walker, and she makes a great point. She said it just makes you better at what you're doing now.
And this is what I always want to tell my members. And if Indiana and anywhere outside of Columbus, Ohio, they don't really know what it is that I do. But if you work in Columbus, Ohio, You see what I do on a day-to-day basis. And when people call me manager, that's a former position I held, but there's nobody in Columbus that can say nobody goes at Columbus management harder than Kenny Hodge does.
That's right.
Yeah. We talk about, and then he makes statements telling people how I berated all craft employees. Now you're just making outlandish statements trying to stir up a negative environment that don't need to exist. If you are good at what you do, that should be enough for you to convince members to vote for you. You're trying to tell them that you're not good at what you do, but because I used to be management, don't give me the opportunity. Not going to happen. And we go a little further, talking about how I handed out discipline. Well, what they do now, they play that old card because he was in management. XYZ is understandable when it happens. Well, let me tell you, I was a different kind of manager, and most of my managers understood that you're going to do things by the rules when you work with Kenny Hodge. And that's the same concept I bring to the National Postal Mail Handlers Union. We've got a contract, a national agreement. Thought I had one right here. That's one book. And we've got people who've been in our union for quite some time, don't understand that book. But I've got a different way of teaching so that we get a thorough understanding of what's in that contract. And when we all get the same understanding, that's where your local becomes powerful at.
No doubt. And listen, you said a thing that I think is going to ring true to everyone. As a manager, you play by the rules.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, I see examples every single day of managers just completely ignoring the rules.
Well, that's
what we're fighting against now.
And you know what, though? Sometimes we think they're annoying them, ignoring them. They never knew them.
Okay, there's that too.
You know, they never knew them, and they don't have mentors now that teach. What they have are people who want to stand there and yell at you and not give you what you need. They don't give you the training you need that prepares you to deal with employees. And I'm going to get right back to the lies put out by the current national president. But one of the most dreadful things that happens in the post office today, managers don't know contracts. Now, they think they know common sense. But let me tell you, for you to be a manager in the post
common sense.
See, but for you to be a person in the post office trying to be a supervisor and you don't understand a mail handler contract or clerk contract or carrier contract, see, every day you're going to be creating an undesirable atmosphere due to your lack of knowledge. And then it's going to spiral out of control because at some point, the people you work for are going to be like, listen, no, we're not going to keep doing that. Yeah. You need to read our contract or we'll file grievances. But even when you file grievances, if I can get you to stop before we file a grievance, wouldn't that be the better of the two? Now, I know grievances can be very lucrative, and if management won't stop, they're supposed to be. But if I can talk to you and maybe tell you what you should be doing as a manager, again, because I know, it might help you do your job better, which has the end result or the direct latent function of making that mail handler's quality of work life so much better. Getting back to my president who can't run the union, but he wants to spend so much time telling lies about Kenny Hodge, one of the most damaging and slanderous statements is he's writing in a book, again, that's been handed to 2,585 mail handlers that I got kicked out of management behind sexual harassment. Now, we may visit that later, but I want to say to you right now on the show and to the Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, in fact, to the world, I've never been reduced in management behind sexual harassment. Never. So when you tell somebody I've got kicked out for that, that's very damaging. And I hope people understand that when you can't match up with your opponent, then the only resort you have is just to lie and try to degrade his character. But I'm not going to fall for that. And I want the members to understand that nobody is perfect. Have we infracted some rules in the past? Have I done some things in the past that may not be in somebody's best interest? Well, I'm going to say no, but probably that's not a correct answer. None of us are perfect. Nobody walks on water. The only person that you hear about walking on water, well, you see, they didn't like him either.
Right.
But nonetheless, we've all got things in our past, but we don't live in the past.
Yeah, we have things in our past, but not that.
Right, exactly. And
And
that's
another, by the way, it's another thing that's totally provable one way or the other. You can't just you can't just say this shit.
But you know, here's what happened, and I want members to understand this. If the local president, the current local president, will hear something without investigating and verify before you print it and distribute it, it makes me real nervous about how can you even put up good representation for your craft. If you put this out, I gotta believe that you don't read your contract and represent members with the intensity or the integrity that's required in these times. We talk about management, and let me tell you, most folks in Local 304 believe that their union is more management than postal managers. But you want to throw that management card at me. Well, I'm here to let you know that when I was elected, and you speak about the short term I had as a branch president, let me tell the members something that you didn't write in your book. I got elected to a 3-year term. You put out a vicious scenario involving postal management where you claim I had 13 late grievances. I want to just take a moment and say, if you know Kenny Hodge, if you've worked with me on any project, doesn't matter if we're talking military, we're talking Peace Corps, we're talking post office, there's no way humanly possible this guy is going to do something wrong 13 times. Just not put together like that. So when you put that lie out to people and they hear that, that's a concern for them. But let me verify and clear it up what happened right now. If you look in your contract, Article 15.2, the section that talks about step 2 grievances. In fact, I think it's page 79 to be exact. If you read that, there's a section there that says once a grievance is accepted or stamped in for step 2, the union and management have 7 days not to schedule the meeting, but to have the meeting. Now, I happen to be, when I was branch president, the management official that hold step 2s was the just former current branch president. So again, branch president, he lost the election, went right into management. But he didn't want to have the meetings with me on time because in Local 304, that's never been required. Sidebar real quick, I challenge every union member now to go into your office and look at the date on any of your step 2 grievances. This way I verify what I'm saying to you and you don't think I'm just spewing garbage on the air. So when you look at a step 2 grievance, you have 7 days. Management refused to meet with me. So on the 8th day, because you already told me you'll meet with me when you want to, I forwarded those grievances to step 3. And I forwarded them through the process. Well, apparently, now here's some of that management knowledge I have that nobody in your union has. I know when you forward a grievance to step 3, because the step 2 official would not meet with you, I know what kind of verbal beating that step 2 manager is going to get. Yes, I used to get those beatings, but so I know that. So I'm forwarding all these grievances up, and now what happens is the management official gets in trouble, little trouble. So he coordinates with my union president, and instead of them saying management would not meet timely, they put together a story that says I filed 13 late grievances. And again, I ask you, those of you that are in good contact with your local president, tell him to show you to you. Tell him to show you 13 late grievances. And on the other hand, if you're the local president, you've got a branch president who has 13 late grievances filed. At what point do you come in and say, wait a minute, do you know what you're doing? See, again, you put that story out without thinking it through, and you show your ineffectiveness as a local president because you don't keep up with your branches. There's no way that I'm going to be a local president and one of my branch presidents continue to file late grievances and they're not going to get a visit from me. The first time I've ever heard of these grievances was because the local president came to my office and told me he was suspending me. Whoa. So even though he likes to write my short term, he knew that the suspension was nonsense. And the reason I say that, I was elected to a 3-year term. I served about 8 months, but for the remainder of the 3 years, he paid me every single month as branch president, even though he had all the locks to the union office changed so I could not have access. And he had to do that because he knew he could not fire me because I'm elected, but he didn't want me as having any part in the union. So when you tell people about my late grievances, that's what happened. And again, just to verify what I'm saying to you, any member in Local 304, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, stop in your union office tomorrow. Ask to see the dates of the stampings on your step 2 grievances and the day the actual meeting was held. I'm willing to bet you $1 to a donut. 90% of them are far in excess of 7 days, and they have no mutual letter of understanding that we're going to extend them. That's just something Local 304 don't really pay a lot of attention to under this current leadership. So you went through a lot of trouble telling folks about my short-termness as a president. The one time you and I had a meeting, you took me out of office. You took no time to try to retrain or refocus what it was because you knew that if you allowed me to do what I was elected to do, then there probably would not have been a campaign last time or this time. I would have just walked right into that office. You understood that my skill set far exceeds yours. So rather than make me part of the team, you decided to just exile me all the way out because I'm not playing the games that some members in Local 304 are willing to play. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to run a concise unit. We're going to operate strictly by our contract. This way, should we ever get off course, everybody has the contract. Hey, brother president, the contract says we were supposed to take 4 steps and turn left. We took 4 steps and turn right. But let me read that. Yep, that's what it says. Well, let's back this up. 4 steps and turn left. Again, I'm just saying we're going to be contract compliant, and we're going to know it to the point where we're going to feel empowered when we sit down at step 1s and step 2s with management, because I'm going to show you how to be prepared, how to make sure you know what it is that you need to know before you sit down and negotiate with postal management. So I've got all these things here that our local president is trying to convince members of. He wrote in his campaign book. Again, it was just more stories about Kenny Hodge than anything else. They seem to be very, very proud of the fact that they have amassed a fortune of, in their bank, the treasure of over $1 million.
Unbelievable.
Now, I got to ask the first question. When you first hear, I've got over $1 million, you're like, wow, that sounds, wait a minute. Why do you need $1 million? That would be my first question. Why do you need $1 million? And you gain that $1 million at what cost? I know for a fact some of that million was made because you did not pay all your branches their entire entertainment fund. Now, as a branch president, I did a PowerPoint presentation and I showed you how to break down your entertainment fund. To this day, correct me if I'm wrong, branch presidents, most of you just understand that the local sends you a check. You don't take the time to understand how much you get per member because you just believe the local to do the right thing. And I'm here to tell you, they may be doing it now, but when I was in office, they didn't. In fact, I raised such an issue about that The last time local 304s by entertainment fund, yes. The last time the local 304s bylaws were updated, they were updated because of the issue that I raised. You see, in our local, before I raised the issue about the entertainment funds, there was set up that every branch office should have its own bank account where every month money should go into it, thereby making sure you receive all monies coming out. But what the current administration did was they did away with that and put all monies in the general account, and they made the determination how much they're going to pay you. And let me say to the members, every dime, I don't mean some of it, every dime the local office has in that bank account, that's our money, our being dues paying members. That money comes from the national, but it all comes from your dues. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not impressed with having $1 million in the bank, because ask your local, when's the last time you took some of that million and did an actual arbitration? You, everything in local 304, you want to pre-arbit with people who've been selected by the local president to be pre-arbitrators. No, you got that much money, send it to court, let a lawyer take it to, let's get a solid decision on it. But you don't. You talk about you have $1 million in the bank, don't really impress me, because you've got mail handlers out of work right now because, and I noticed an OWCP hosted show, but OWCP is important, but our union will turn away from it with no voice at all. You've got that kind of money. You should be taking that money, putting in programs, putting in things in effect that your members don't have to suffer like that. You know as well as I know, postal management could care less. So guess what? As a union, we have to be more ready. We have to anticipate more. We have to better prepare ourselves so that when management don't do what they're supposed to do, we can come out with force and make sure that employee gets what they're entitled to. But that's not important to our local. Our local is concerned with boasting you got over $1 million. You've got over $1 million in your treasury. If any mail handler ever had the reason to go to postal headquarters, you would be embarrassed. You would be embarrassed. You sit here telling me you got $1 million. Your building looks like not. It looks like a union headquarters should not look.
It looks like $10.
Not even 10. Let's go $4.50. But that's what your building looks like. So when you sit here and boast about how much money you got, that don't really impress me. When is the last time you took some of that million and did something extra for your employees? Not for your employees, for your members.
Right.
When was the last time you took some of that million? It's Veteran Day this week, and there's something special for all your veterans. Not an email. You've got $1 million. All of that million comes out of employees' paychecks. That's all dues money. And again, we have to understand that this is money that belongs to the members. It's for the members. It's not to see how much we can amass. We talk about and then he goes back into one comment he made. He tells members that I made a statement. If I don't win the election, I'm going back into management. I just
You're not.
I just didn't know it was that easy. And plus, let me tell you something. That's the last place I want to go. Again, because I was there, I don't know why people don't understand that. I don't want to go back there. I learned what I learned and I did my time there, but I don't want to go back there. I don't care how this election or anything else goes. Postal management is something I no longer required to be a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just disheartening that all you have to do for your campaign is try to talk me down.
So, and one of the things that just keeps coming through my head, it's political season. You can't turn on the TV without seeing something, right? It's election season, I should say. So, we're in this kind of mode right now across the country. But, when I'm watching the TV, you see two, I think, ways of doing campaigning. And one is just go full blown negative, bash, 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 and just talk bad about the other. And the other is, here's what I'm doing, positive, positive, positive. It sounds like you're dealing with someone that's just going all negative with you. And I haven't heard you go all negative back.
Well, you know what? I tell people, learning people, you can't do the same thing and expect different results. I mean, that just don't make common sense. I know that's taught in the Postal Academy, Management Academy, but in real life, you can't do that. Now, again, I tell people, because I wear my feelings on my sleeve. I'll tell you, my last campaign, I was very angry. But you know what that got me? That got me right here campaigning for the job I didn't get last time. So I want to tell people now that my leadership style, again, it changes, it evolves, and it is always predicated on what's best for the mail handler. This last, and again, me sitting here trying to, I'm just going, just rebut some of the things that he's saying.
Yeah.
But for me to try to put him down the manner he's trying to do me, that means I don't have a skill set that's better than his. So maybe I'll talk more trash than him. I had him, I guess, so nervous, and I don't really know why he wants to be that way, but he's campaigning against me and took the time to make a sly comment about his predecessor. I think his name was Mr. Bell, calling him a con artist. I mean, so all I'm saying and all I've ever said is he's retired. Now, again, that's not, if anybody views that as negative, I'm sorry, that's a fact. And let me tell you something. When you're not at work every day, next to those mail handlers working, you lose some things. I didn't say you lose everything, but you lose enough.
Yeah.
Right now, our local is not looked at as a local that's going to stand up to management. We are in a local that says, if it will make management happy, okay, we'll let that go. Or if it will keep the peace. No, no, we don't want to keep the peace. We want to keep contract compliance. Big difference. And under Kenny Haas, again, when I start the training concept and you feel, okay, you know what? I learned something. Wait a minute, hold on. That's not how we do it in our office, but now I'm going to do it the way our president tells us to do it and watch the results. Watch how management is going to fall more in line with your contract than they ever were.
Yep.
We I don't know. It just bothers me. I'm supposed to be the arrogant one, but he puts in his magazine that I want to be him. No, I don't want to be you. I'm too busy being me. But that's part of his campaign.
Yeah.
Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, I want to tell you, you had enough of retired people not being in your fight, leading your fight. Again, I will tell you now, I'll tell you forever, when you are not working, when you're retired, as our current local president, Vic McLemore, is, you can sit with postal management and make decisions that you don't even, it don't affect you. Your paycheck is still the same. And that's dangerous, folks.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in the fight, but I'm making decisions. No, we're not. We need to stop that. We really need to stop that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to tell you, I thought you were at a stopping point there. I get to see the comments here, and I'm telling you, wild support for you.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of love. In fact, everyone that's on Facebook, just hit the love button and prove it. But no kidding. I mean, we're getting a lot of comments that, we need more leaders like you. And, someone earlier said that, your management background makes you better in your union capacity. There's just, and here comes the hearts. I mean, they're never ending stream of so like everyone's with you and what you're saying, it's ringing true. And I think one of the things that you said was that, sometimes in some places, management and union are maybe too close together.
Yes.
Right? They want to fight each other, but you're willing to make it happen. And we got people saying, man, we need people like you. That's what we need. There's too much nepotism between management and the union is what I'm hearing other people say here.
And again, if you work in Columbus, and let me say this to you. Let's go outside of Columbus. In the last 3 years, one of the biggest things that came across the nation was COVID. Now, let me tell you something about that COVID. I've had people come, mail handlers come to my house for my help. I've had telephone conversations in New York, Florida, Idaho with plant managers because they wouldn't pay, and I had to talk them through how to pay. So I have to ask Local 304. You couldn't get to your local president because if you could get to him, you would not have been asking me to do it. And you know what? I put a couple of statements out on my podcast page, and people said, "Okay, I want to see if he can walk the walk to match that talk that he's talking." And 9 out of 10 times, we did both.
Yeah.
I made phone, and because of my prior management, see, I know how to contact that plant manager and let him know, listen, you're talking to an employee advocate, but before you start the song and dance, let me tell you what I used to do. Okay, so we're gonna put all that nonsense to the side and let's talk about how we're going to get this employee paid because they are following the proper paperwork. And a lot of times they would send it to me. I sent it to plant managers in several different states through my email. And you know, my email address, real funny, is Kenny Hodge at npmhu304.com. Yes, I bought the site because I knew I was going to need it.
Yeah.
When I'm elected, every president is going to have that same website. Again, little things like that increase the professionalism. And when you increase the professionalism, trust me, we're going to get up every day and go harder at doing our jobs. We some of the things that I just want to just go. I got some notes here. When we talk about when he took a breather, when Bit took a breather from talking about me, he listed some of his accomplishments, and I got to tell you, one of the things that he's most proud of is he was a part of the RI 399 process, and that's what we call work inventory. Well, you must have was asleep during the class. How can you brag about being a part of RI 399 process in 3 different states? You've got different crafts doing the same job. Don't use that. See, now that statement like that is only meant for people who don't follow protocol. So now you hear, oh, he's been to RI 399 training. I don't know what that is, but it sounds important.
You're right.
He went to training, but apparently he didn't learn anything. There's no way I'm going to be the president over 3 states. And now, again, there are anomalies that take place. Like, for example, I'm of the opinion that expediters in Columbus, they're clerks, APW. Same job in Kentucky, a mail handler. Can somebody tell me how that happens? You see, there is no standardization in what we do. And without standardization, we can never be complete. Everybody does their own thing. That means you can't fix anything.
Yeah.
You're just putting fingers in the dam. But when everybody operates in the same manner, one fix from my office takes care of 3 states. When everybody's doing the same thing.
That's huge.
You know, and again, I gotta go back to this $1 million. I hate to retract, but I don't know. That seems to be his claim to fame, that I raised $1 million. Well, maybe you should be a campaign fund organizer. I mean, you seem to be pretty good at that, because $1 million is no small thing, but that's not what we need.
Yeah.
We need leaders that when situations happen, you know what? I'm going to tell my branch president, and my branch president is going to call the local president. And if need be, the local president, if I'm your local president, will be pulling up at your plant. See, I believe that that the kind of leadership I want to bring to this local, when you call me or somebody from the executive board, we're on our way. We all are going to have to do some relearning because I'm going to function a lot different. I'm going to really, really, really accentuate what it means to be a union for the people. And again, and I know once we get past this hurdle, or once we count these ballots and I've got more votes than my opponent, then we can go to work. I've not addressed anything said by the executive board, and I'm not going to, because right now you're following your leader. It's a lost leader. You're following your leader, and I hope when I get in office and show you what a real union leader is going to perform for the local, I hope I get that support from you as well.
So you have a lot I know that you're going to accomplish in that 3 years, your first 3 years. Let's call it that. Let's don't get ahead of ourselves for what's next. But I know there's a lot you're going to accomplish. And this is a work comp show. And so I do want to ask a work comp question if you don't have any issue with that.
No, not at all.
So you and I are on the same mission when it comes to this. I mean, we're educating people. You do it on your podcast. We do it here. Educating folks on what to do when they get hurt and fighting these denials, overcoming the supervisor's crap that they say. Can you just for a minute talk about how you handle work comp claims for your members? Because you and I both know that's a huge problem.
See, now one of the things that that we're going to do, and again, we're going to be in contact with Chris and Gini because I see the training that you guys travel the world doing. And we're going to get that training, and I'm going to back that training up again with some of that $1 million. There's going to be a time when our local will contract. Once again, that's what I want to do. And I want to make this statement very clear. As long as I have the blessing from our national president. Okay, I'm not coming in here as a renegade. And as long as we have the blessing from our national president, then we're going to take some of that money and we may have attorneys take a couple of cases to court. Because at some point, we're going to show the post office, you're going to do the right thing.
That's what I'm saying.
The days of, you know what, hey, listen, let's just sweep this under the rug and then maybe we'll go out and have coffee or something. No. How about you do the right thing and then we just go have lunch?
Yeah. Hey, Kenny, let me just say, so I don't want anybody to be confused here. That $1 million you got, you can put into lawyers, you can put into venues, you can put into educational materials, but Chris Helms works for free, buddy.
Watch this. And I know that, Chris. I do. Right. But you know what, though? We're going to need that training. Because, again, when we have, say we step outside, I know our union deals with OWCP, but if need be, hey, national president, without being directly attached to the union, can I put together a little OWCP contingency? Yeah. And if I show you it's a benefit to the mail handler, I know you got to go through your lawyers and all that kind of stuff. You might want to make this national. Yeah. Why would you not want to make a program national that's going to benefit mail handlers? And let me tell you, people being out of work and the garbage, postal managers sending through when trying to come back, they forgot about the whole concept of if you get injured at work, the post office is supposed to bend over backwards, taking you through rehabilitation so they do everything they possibly can to get you back to 100%. Yeah. It has not happened in such a long time that the unions are okay with that also. I'm not okay with that. And if I stand firm on that, once I start to stand on issues, I have no doubt that mail handlers are going to understand it's kind of like a new day, and I know they're going to stand with me.
Yeah, so Judy here said they retaliate.
And they, you know what?
What do you think about that?
They do. They do. And again, they just, but you have to understand. I'm not trying to say you got to be a martyr, but somebody got to go through it. And when they retaliate, now here comes your local. Wait a minute, what's going on? You mean this employee, this mail handler, got hurt at work, and you want to move her from tour 2 to tour 1? No, we're going to talk about that. Now, again, they do it with ease right now because you don't. And let me tell you something, branch presidents. No disrespect to branch president, but if you've got an issue in your branch and your local president has earned the respect for taking care of the members, not earned the respect of I'm just gonna make it okay with management, different type of respect I'm talking. When we have that situation and I have to come to your plant, we're going to make sure that we break out the the rules and regulations, and I'm going to convince postal management that it's your responsibility. And if not, I'm telling you, I've got $1 million. I can now get legal. And I'm so for real. And understand, I keep saying the million. I'm not going to use that frivolously.
But you're about to mobilize that money and not just let it sit there collecting dust.
That's what I'm talking about. Because again, I'm going to use the members' money for the member.
Yep.
And that's what they want.
And again, that's all they want. Show me something. Show me, hey, now I belong to the local, or I belong to the unions, because I'm always going to be a part of the union. Even though my opponent, my years in management, he criticized me, I was in the union there also. I was in management union. So again, solidarity is solidarity. But I ask any member, give me a reason why you belong. You know what? I don't really care, and I mean this. I don't really care how sorry they are. I'm still going to pay my dues and belong. That's just me. But see, I don't want you to be like that.
Yeah.
I want you to be like that because you know why I belong? Because that local president keeps them moving. That local president makes sure my stewards are knowledgeable enough to take care of my grievance. That local president makes sure words that you don't hear from Kenny Hodges' administration is, oh, management can just do that. You're not going to hear that a lot because management don't know what they can do. And they've convinced a lot of stewards and a lot of presidents that, yeah, we can do this. We'll bring that Article 2, Article 3 management rights on them. And I want to say to you, you can do it, but there's a cost of doing business.
That's right.
So
I love that, Kenny. Listen, one thing I say all the time, you've heard me say it to you. Yeah. Managers are either dumb or they play dumb. And somebody's going to stand up and say, no more of that.
Yeah. No, you're right. Because, you know, and a lot of it is dumb because they never knew. And again, you think about when you go to Management Academy, and I taught in the Management Academy, we never taught contract. So, but it was a thing of usually you came up through the craft and you were in a craft 5 years, 10 years. You know, you had contract exposure. Now, you could possibly come in the post office and be a 204B, which is an acting supervisor, in about 4 months. You can possibly come in the post office and be promoted to a Form 50 supervisor in less than a year with no skill set. You know why? Because your managers have no skill set. And if I'm in charge, postal management, here's what they believe. If I'm in charge, you can't know more than me.
Right.
I'm in charge, I know nothing, so I can't go and get the veteran employees to help because you know more than me, and my pride won't allow that. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get that brand new person off the street. Don't really care how they treat you. I know they look up to me because I know something they don't know, and that's just garbage.
So, all right, we're kind of coming up on the end of this hour, but there's a few things I don't want to miss, and this has been in my head the whole time. We talked about it last time, and we talked about when you and I were in Columbus together. That what would a former Marine and Army drill sergeant do? Let me just leave it at that. What would a former Marine and Army drill sergeant do?
You know what? The Marine or former Army drill sergeant would. I understand the need for standardization. My training has prepared me how to understand that, and my life lessons have taught me how to not only do that on a military basis, but to do that to civilian population also. So we can come in here and go to work, and if I didn't tell you I was a drill sergeant, you wouldn't know that. Again, trust me. Again, we don't mix the two because see, in the Army, that drill sergeant means don't say anything back to me. You try that out here in civilian population, you better be ducking because they'll throw books at you.
Yeah, but I don't want to be on the other side of the table in a grievance either.
But you know what though? Because when in Columbus, when you did a step one, I made you prepare the step one like it was going to step two. I want all the documents with it.
Yeah.
Give me everything, and I want you to read it. I want you to understand it and sometimes you might want to go over it in the office 1 or 2 times. Sometimes you might want to pitch your step one meeting to me. Here, let me sit here with you and go over this because there's no feeling like being confident.
Right.
And if you have that confidence, you speak with authority.
Yeah.
Now, I got to tell you, just because you're prepared and just because you speak with confidence, doesn't mean you're going to win that grievance. Because you got to remember, sometimes you're talking to a box of rocks on the other side of that table. So you can make your point perfectly clear, but they're not getting it. Or before the meeting started, their upper manager told them, you will not settle that grievance. I know they say that don't exist, but of course it exists. So you go in there and you pitch your best. Here, I've got this section of the contract. I've got this handout. I've got all this stuff to show you that you're wrong. Well, guess what? All that supervisor knows is my manager told me I can't sell it. So no, denied. But you know what? You'll be okay with it because you understand how postal management works, and you'll feel confident that I represented that employee the best. And most members, everybody wants to win. But as long as they see that steward in there fighting for them, putting up opposition, not just, oh, well, management can do that. Most members are going to leave there all right. They're going to be satisfied. They know we came, we fought. Management just was not hearing us. So now we have to send it to the next level. So
change is coming. I like that you're going to mobilize the money. Just remember, I came up with that slogan, mobilize the money. But hey, seriously,
it'll be a flyer tomorrow, man.
Tell people how they can find you.
You can find me on Blog Talk Radio, Hodge #2 Hodge/podcast. I've got a Facebook page, the Kenny Hodge Postal Podcast, and I need 10 more members so I can hit 1K. So
let's get that tonight. So everyone, go to Kenny Hodge Postal Podcast on Facebook. Kenny Hodge Postal Podcast. We typed that in the message, and go there and follow that. Let's get the extra 10 and give them some bonus follows over there. Okay, and also on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get your podcast, you can download and follow the Kenny Hodge Postal Podcast. Absolutely. As I see our time coming to an end, I want to say to Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, there's been a lot of lies perpetrated about me from the current local president. And he only does that because he knows his skill set is not comparable to my skill set. And I'm going to do things with this local that he hasn't even dreamt of doing. When you have retired people trying to make decisions for active people, there's always going to be a mismatch. Support Kenny Hodge. I go to work every day just like you do. I understand when we sign memos that are not enforced. As a retired local president, there's no follow-up. We win arbitration decisions. We don't win. We win arbitration decisions from other areas because our president is more focused on having $1 million than having justice. There's no follow-up. And I want to tell you, Kenny Hodge is going to bring that follow-up. So that little campaign booklet that they put out, please dismiss what he has to say and understand that if you look at the body of work that I put out for mail handlers, I am more than worthy and more than capable of being the next local president of National Postal Mail Handlers Union, Local 304. Couldn't agree more. So Kenny's going to mobilize the money to the benefit of the people. And right now, Kenny, I'm going to mobilize the people. Okay. Everyone, please hit the share button. I'd like all your friends in your friends list on Facebook or wherever you're watching this to see this. All you got to do is hit share. You don't even have to type anything. Just hit share and make it happen. Let's spread this thing around, and everyone has an opportunity to really spread it.
Yeah, and don't forget, everybody, Mr. Hodge and our partner Tom are going to be in the open house meet and greet next Wednesday at Federal Injury Centers of Columbus, Ohio. So go say hi to them. Tom will be there to answer all your questions. And Mr. Hodge will be there talking more about his campaign. Yes, because the ballots went out on November 2nd, and you have until December 17th to mail them into Cincinnati. Don't sit on the ballot because just check that box that says Kenny Hodge. Check that box that says, wait a minute, hold on. This is the voting ballot I'd like to see happen. I'd like to see you support Kenny Hodge for local president. Support Carl Sharp, very intelligent young man out of Columbus, Ohio, for Ohio State rep. And support Will Johnson,
As he's awesome union rep. He's running for branch president. So remember, Hodge Sharp Johnson. That ticket is a power ticket, and we'll be on our way to move Local 304 in a better direction.
Can't say it any better. Kenny, we're pulling for you, obviously.
All right. I appreciate it.
I can't. So when's the election?
December 17th, they collect and count the ballots. So
all right. So
this is my day.
Can't wait for the outcome. Thank you so much for being here. I wish I was going to be in the Columbus office with you, but
I'll be making so much noise at the celebration party. You'll hear me.
I want to be invited to the party.
Oh, hey, listen, you got an open invitation to whatever I'm doing, Chris. You know that, man.
Man, we really appreciate you. Everyone here appreciates you. Everyone, again, please give them some love and share it with your friends. Let everyone know this is happening. And can you do me a favor? Can you just hang around? We're going to put you back in the green room.
Oh, I got it.
And I'd like to just say a word to you when we're finished. But, man, I'm so happy to have you here. We're going to do some final housekeeping things, and then we're going to let the folks go, and I'll be back with you.
All right, good deal, brother.
Everybody, Kenny Hodge.
Yes. All right, guys. So that's all we have for tonight. Thank you. We really wanted to, have Mr. Hodge on here and talk about all his new plans for upcoming president. And we wanted to give all the shout outs now to all of the offices that we're on.
Now, hold on. Before she does that, I want to say this. Thank you all for being here and participating live with Kenny Hodge. I think it's really important. He's going to make a massive impact over a 3-state region. I think that's really important for you. And he's a friend of mine, and this is what friends do. So I want to have my friend on. If he's a friend of mine, he's a friend of yours. Okay, he's a good dude. But while we were talking, a bunch of our offices, the doctors came on to say hello. And they do that because they want to know what you're thinking about. Well, tonight, they got a dose of Kenny Hodge, but they come on each week to say hello, to let you know where they're at so that you know that they're here and that they care about you. She's going to go and just list the offices that were here tonight. You can go back and take a look. Many of them listed their addresses, their phone numbers. Yeah. So go back and scroll through the comments and you'll see that stuff. And someone asked if we have an office or where's our office in Texas. Go to federalinjurycenters.com and click at the very top right. It says final location. So go find a location. You'll see it.
All right.
With that said, who was on tonight?
All right. The first one on tonight was our Federal Injury Centers of Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach, Dr. Clark. Thanks for coming on.
He's going to say the name. I don't know all the doctors' names. We got Federal Injury Centers of San Antonio.
Yeah, Dr. Woywood.
Federal Injury Centers of Redondo Beach, California.
Hawkins.
Dr. Hawkins. Federal Injury Centers of Royersford, Pennsylvania.
Dr. Heidi Pendleton.
No
funner doctor in the world than Dr. Heidi Pendleton. Dr. Hawkins would argue with that, and she might be right. Well, I'd like to see the fun contest.
Federal Injury Centers of Tucson, Arizona.
Dr. Heaton, we love Dr. Heaton.
All right, we got Tim's office. So there's like times 3.
Tim Vanderman is one of our franchisees. He's got multiple locations in the Maryland, Virginia, DC office. I think there's a couple of federal employees in Maryland, Virginia, DC, maybe 2 or 3. If any of the 2 or 3 of you get hurt, obviously give them a call.
Federal Injury Centers of Alexandria, Virginia.
That's also Tim.
That's Tim. Okay, Federal Injury Centers of Roscoe, Illinois.
Roscoe is just like right on the border with what? Wisconsin. So if you're within like range of Madison, you can get to an office, I think, within an hour
now. Federal Injury Centers of Gulfport, Mississippi.
Yeah, so Gulfport is an interesting one because we met him at one of the seminars we went to, and he came up, and it took him like 5 minutes to say, I'm in.
Yeah.
So go to the Federal Injury Centers tab. Remember, check locations and go check them out. If you're in Mississippi, there's no other place to go. Honestly, there's not.
We have Federal Injury Centers of Charlotte, North Carolina.
So, and Charlotte is interesting because so Jacqueline's been on here. She does the marketing, the outreach. She puts together all the fantastic events.
Yes.
If you're in Charlotte and you've been to one of their open houses, or I think they just had like a party in the parking lot.
Yeah.
That was all Jacqueline. Okay. She is the best in the world at putting these things together. But the other thing they're really freaking great at, I almost use a different F word, is getting claims accepted. They get claims accepted at a rate that is, even to me, unbelievable.
We got Federal Injury Centers of South Bend, Indiana.
Okay, so Dr. Courage in South Bend. I've been to South Bend. I've been to Notre Dame. But the one thing I want to say, Dr. Courage, is go Irish.
Oh my goodness.
And if you're not an Irish fan, believe me,
Oh my
you will be soon. It's only a matter of a few years before we get that championship. If we can get over Kenny Hodges' team in Columbus.
Oh my gosh, of all things, that's what you said.
What?
Okay.
It's go Irish.
All right.
Everyone should be saying this.
We got Federal Injury Centers of Phoenix City and Federal Injury Centers of Forest Park.
So that's Dr. Cooper. Dr. Cooper's on every week. In fact, he was just on with us live. Was it 2 weeks ago? Last week.
Yeah.
We've been traveling, but so everyone got to see Dr. Cooper. We love Dr. Cooper. Thanks for continually being here.
We got Federal Injury Centers of Huntsville, Federal Injury Centers of Montgomery, Federal Injury Centers of Birmingham.
Dang, Dr. Harper. Yeah, so Dr. Harper started off in Bessemer, Alabama, which is a small little suburb of a small town called Birmingham. And so many people went there to get their claims accepted. Over 550 people have had their claims accepted with Dr. Harper.
Yes.
That he's opened up in Montgomery and Huntsville as well, because he realized he can't help everybody in the state in that one location, and nobody else in the state outside of Phoenix City is interested in helping you. So Dr. Harper is the most prolific claims accepting doctor in the history of OWCP.
We have Federal Injury Centers of Greenville, South Carolina.
Yep, Greenville, South Carolina is not that far away from, I guess it's, a few hours from Charlotte, North Carolina?
Yes.
Anyways, Dr. Mills and his staff were there last time we were in Charlotte, and we had a really good time meeting up with them. But, they're another office. If you're in South Carolina, that's where you need to be going, okay? Yeah. So just, don't hurt yourself by going to I don't even want to call them competition. Just be sure you're going to see Dr. Mills.
And I mean, we have more offices, but these are the ones that we're on. Federal Injury Centers of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Why do I sound like Vanna White?
I don't know, but I'm going to tell you. Look, Dr. Snowden in Oklahoma City, look, we have a lot of great doctors, okay? And I'm not kidding. Like, whatever I'm about to say about Dr. Snowden is not a knock on anyone else. But Dr. Snowden just has this look in his eyes. And I know the look because when I look in the mirror, I see it. He is intensely focused on winning. I don't mean in a murderous sense. He's a killer. And Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma is in for a great surprise. You're going to have so many accepted claims. Nobody with the look in their eye like him is going to lose. So, he specializes in winning. I'm sure of it. So go check him out. And again, all these doctors are in the locations tab at federalinjurycenters.com. Just go to the top right corner and check out the locations.
And we got, who else? And then, Nana Diaz said Orlando, Federal Injury Centers of Orlando, Florida.
Oh, Orlando's on?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So Dr. Fred Williams is an interesting character too. He's about, if I'm not mistaken, now from my vantage point, like 8 feet tall, but so friendly. Like, I think he bumps his head on the door when he's walking through it. But seriously, he's one of our newest offices. He's all in. We do group trainings with the doctors, and he participates more in the trainings than almost anybody else.
Yeah.
So if you've got a claim and you need it accepted in Orlando or anywhere in that vicinity, there is no other place to go. All right, so check it out.
And Dr. Harper said, thank you for the phenomenal compliment.
Well, Dr. Harper, thank you for kicking ass and taking names. That's what I love the most, winning. So Dr. Harper wins in the most prolific fashion. So listen, everyone, we really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to go check out Kenny Hodge on the Kenny Hodge Postal Podcast. Anywhere where you get your podcast, go to Hodge on Blog Talk Radio. I'm sure if you just go and Google it, you'll find it because Google's pretty smart and it keeps track of this stuff. But you need to be checking this stuff out and go see Kenny Hodge at our open house in Columbus coming up with him and Tom. Anyways, listen, next week, I know you're going to say something. Next week, we'll be right back to teaching work comp. Somebody came on and said, wait a minute, is this the work comp page? Yes, you came to the right place. Believe me, we do, I don't even know, 500 hours of videos every year. So there's another one coming, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to do more. We really appreciate you being here. If this is your first time tonight, then you were able to meet Kenny Hodge, and that's a real gift. So please share, hit the share button, let everybody know this is happening, and tell them to vote Kenny Hodge.
Yeah. And the only last thing I have to say about work comp. Okay, a lot of you have been messaging me, which is fine. But one thing, when you guys get a denial and you have an issue and you say the doctor's not filling something out or the doctor is not getting back to you, please just call the office, because it takes me time to read your message and see, I don't know anything about your cases and what's going on. So calling me, I don't want to say it's not going to help, but it can't. I can only screenshot your message and then I send it off to one of our case managers, Emmy or Jennifer, with the doctor's office.
All right. So last but not least.
Wait, I wasn't done.
You're done.
Oh.
Last but not least, today is Gizmo's 9th birthday.
Baby boy's birthday.
He turned 9, which officially makes him 63 years old in people years, and he's still going strong.
Yes.
So Giz would like to say happy birthday and go Kenny Hodge. All right. So
and
yeah,
so please just reach out back to the doctor's office if you guys have any type of issues, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Hey, thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you next week when we're actually going to talk about work comp stuff again. So if you were here tonight, you're hoping for some work comp stuff, stay tuned next week. As they used to say on my favorite TV show, same bat time, same bat channel.
And those of you in Florida, stay safe for the hurricane coming again.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night, everyone.